Happy Saturday, Risers. We hope you are having a phenomenal weekend. Sagar and I are back with some of our favorite moments from the week.
That's right. In 2016, President Trump won 48.5% of the total popular vote in the Rust Belt. But according to new polls conducted by Big Data Poll, Joe Biden has an overall lead in that region with registered voters.
Big Data Poll Director Rich Baris joined us to discuss his latest polling and why he believes voter enthusiasm may actually play an important role come November.
One question that keeps jumping out at me, and there's basically one exception to the rule, is in 2016, voters did think that Hillary Clinton was going to win overall. She did not, but that was one of the exceptions where the voter expectation question really polled as badly as the voter intention question. And voter expectations, there's a lot of evidence to suggest there's a lot more predictive value in that. Even when polls have big misses in some races, people think will win tends to be a little bit more predictive. Everywhere we've polled in the Rust Belt, nationally, in Florida and New Hampshire, voters expect Donald Trump to win. So it is possible we're all missing something. But this time around, there's no doubt he's a vulnerable incumbent president. There's no doubt about that. But there's a lot of different ways to poll, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Rich's perspective was really interesting. He goes by People's Pundit on Twitter, and he was looking at that voter enthusiasm number. It is confounding also to look at that expectation that voters think that Trump is going to win. It's just fascinating given everything, the dynamics. And if things go wrong, it's things like that we're going to have to look to see, okay, this is where the data.
Where were the signs? Yeah, that's why we wanted to have Rich on, as he has kind of a contrarian take in a lot of these ways. And we always want to kind of test our own assumptions, make sure that we are thinking about this election correctly. I mean, my question to him after that was, do you think it's just that we've kind of overlearned the lessons from 2016? Like everyone's brains were kind of broken. Yeah. And even when you see poll after poll after poll that's like, no, guys, really, he's going to lose. He's losing everywhere. He's going to lose. That we're still like, I don't know. You told us that last time
Feels
around.
The same.
So very interesting. All right. After this week's presidential debate, both candidates, I would say, didn't really achieve their desired goals to come out of the debate looking like winners.
Yeah, so earlier this week, we held a post-debate panel with the D.C. Bureau Chief of The Intercept, Ryan Grimm, and co-host of the Realignment podcast, Marhsall Kosloff. Let's take a listen to that.
The idea that Joe Biden could turn in a performance like he did last night and be declared, and I think, with some reason, as the winner, just shows you where we are in our politics right now. The question that you have to ask, I think, is like, whose mind did this change? Because like you said, Biden's people, those 49% said that Biden won. Trump's people are about 41% at this point. They said he won. And so if you're trying to move somebody from one camp to another, you probably didn't do it. Now, what about the undecided voters? Well, think about them. They're down to 5% or below in surveys. And if you're at this point in the presidential race and you haven't decided who you're going to vote for yet, you don't really care probably enough to watch an entire 90 minutes of that debate. So you probably didn't actually watch it. You're just going to be, gleaning from snippets that you hear on the radio or on the internet or what you see on social media. And that part's not going well for Trump because it's going to focus on his, what do you say, stand back, stand by, Proud Boys. That's going to be one of the big takeaways. And so that's not going to put you in his camp.
Yeah, I mean, Marshall, what do you think of that? I was actually looking at the Frank Luntz undecided voter focus group, and he said for the first time since he's ever been conducting these, they actually had undecided voters who, after watching that, decided not to vote. They're just like, I'm out, which, not a great sign for any of us.
That isn't a great sign for anyone, but once again, to sort of Ryan's point, if you're undecided at this point, I'm not quite sure what I have to say to you, because it's pretty clear, I think, from both ends what this sort of works to. But the broader thing that was really interesting to me, and people have talked about this, is that I think you saw Trump's strategy with focusing on the idea that Joe Biden is senile or just isn't sort of capable of sort of conducting himself really sort of backfire, because they set the expectations so low that Biden just sort of going up there and being a bit overwhelmed by Trump's sort of style. That wasn't him being senile. It wasn't him being unable to articulate himself. So he crossed that bar, and that's where I think the win is going to come from.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden was basically incapable of defeating Trump head-to-head in a debate. Trump beat himself. I mean, that's the bottom line here. And as we said going in, Joe didn't need to make anything happen. Trump is the one who's down and needed to make something happen. And the fact that he either lost some ground from that debate or things basically stayed steady means that Joe Biden's a big winner.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think it continues to be right. And who the hell knows if we're even going to get another debate given the coronavirus diagnosis.
Indeed.
So in August, President Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, delivered a ruling which blocks workers from suing their employers when tech companies deny them overtime compensation.
Earlier this week, research director at the American Economic Liberties Project, Matt Stoller, joined us to talk about Barrett's judicial record.
It's always a little bit tricky with lower court judges because oftentimes they can say, well, I'm just following precedent. I'm not really kind of making case law here. But from what I read, and I went over, a bunch of her cases, and what I found is I didn't find a single case where she ruled for a worker, for a consumer, or for a small business against a larger business. I mean, she rules on the side of the powerful. And, you could say that there's a methodological consistency there, but it's not that she's, following statute. It's just that she's ruling for the powerful. And that's what you just see in general with the courts nowadays.
And the thing is, Matt, Sirota, couple other reporters, Ryan Grip, most of whom we all have on this show.
Our friends.
They're the only ones who actually look at this or care about it or talk about it. If you were to just read the media reports, you would think the only thing that she's going to rule on is Roe versus Wade. And look, it's important. Don't get me wrong. People have strong feelings about it. It matters to a lot of people. But it is like the tiny bit of what her actual impact on the bench is like.
And what judicial philosophy really means to you in your life. Like, again, what governs your life? Like, it's how we conduct commerce. It's the economy. That's what matters, but the media doesn't want to tell that story.
Indeed. All right, that does it for us. We'll be back later today with the week that was the media screw-ups.
Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back for another round of #RisingQs. We'll see you guys then.
Have a good one, guys.